Obviously, a lot of intensity and emotion throughout the course of the week of practice, and certainly learned a lot over the course of the last 4 weeks. So, our players have really, through an awesome off season, have progressed in a bunch of different areas, and this practice has been great this week. So we're looking forward to getting the conference play on Saturday.
How's T.Y.?
T.Y. He's coming along, practiced on Monday and Tuesday. Definitely much farther along than he was last week. Last week he was slowed by a minor injury, but he has practiced full, so we expect him to be full speed on Saturday. We expect him to be full speed today.
Okay. Talk a little bit about Curtis Bryant having his first start against Pittsburgh last
week.
Yeah,
absolutely. Curtis Bryant, a guy that really has been working hard for several years here at FIU, got his opportunity last week against a very physical defense, went in there, did a great job. Actually, him and Brad Serini graded out the highest for the offensive line this past week. Again, blocked 3 technique, blocked shades, blocked pressure, was effective in the running game, the passing game. He's a guy that's taken a huge step for us, and he's a guy that's going to be playing a lot of football. It's going to be hard to unseat him as a starter.
How much looking forward are you to playing Sun Belt? Not only the teams, but I mean, these are guys that often grade out the same as the recruits you guys get. I mean, you guys are going up against these 4- and 5-star players week after week after week. Now it seems like, you guys are playing at least teams that have recruited over the last 3-4 years the same level you guys have.
Well, again, I don't. When it comes to stars and all that kind of stuff on recruiting, ranking, it's not something we really pay attention to. Every time we do play an opponent, that is our Super Bowl for the week. That is the most important game. One thing we really don't focus on is what it looks like on paper or in terms of rankings, because I think we're just worried about the fact that no game is ever won on paper. You got to go on the field and play it. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for everyone that we play, and we think every single opponent on our schedule this year is a great football team. And everything we've seen in Western Kentucky and the tidbits we catch on TV from the rest of our conference opponents, these are real good football teams that are continually getting better in a very competitive conference, a conference that continues to grow and expand. So we know we have a big task that's coming Saturday, and we're ready for it.
Did you catch any of the game last night?
Very little. I tend to really never look ahead. We took a snack break last night and maybe turned it on for 5 minutes as we were continuing to prepare for Western Kentucky, and just caught up the score here and then. But saw that Troy did win the football.
What 5 minutes did you watch?
I just saw a lot of speed. I saw Dwight Dasher in the game, and I saw a couple new faces for Troy's defense, and I just wanted to go Western Kentucky.
What about Western Kentucky? Have you seen in the last couple of days?
Well, I think the guys that definitely get a lot of publicity, and it's very well deserved. Of course, Rainey and Jakes, the running back and quarterback, respectively. Rainey leads the Sun Belt Conference and is tops in the country in several categories. And it's not just him; it's the offensive line, and it's the scheme as well. He runs hard. He sees the field well. He's very effective, catches the ball out of the backfield. He's a power runner with great speed. They're a physical football team. They want to get him the ball. And of course, Kay Jakes has really taken a huge step as a quarterback as well, being very efficient with the football, being a manager of that offense, and has done a great job. So on offense, they obviously have a lot of talent, and on defense, they've changed up what they've been doing. They played real well, particularly this last game against South Florida. You see a team that's fast, that's explosive, it's got a lot of athletes. So again, we're looking forward to a great matchup.
You guys had a 100-yard rusher. You guys gave up a 100-yard rushing in the last 3 games. How did you guys address that during practice this week?
Well, you got to stop the run, absolutely, to be successful as a football team and as a defense. And regardless of who it is, whether it's a team that's known for rushing the football and having a great running scheme, or any opponent you play, a lot of it has to do, of course, with just playing as 11 guys playing as one on the football field. Technique up front, explosiveness up front, change the line of scrimmage, assignments and fits are real important, and of course tackling. We are in position to make some plays. We do have to make them. As coaches, we have to continue to put our players in better positions also to help them make plays more effectively. So So it's a combination of a couple things and things that we have worked on continuously since the start of camp, and that we'll continue to improve upon as the season goes on.
Would you rather, facing a team like Western Kentucky in a running game like that, would you rather have them beat you off with Jake's passing than actually running the ball? Would you rather force them to pass the ball?
We would like to do everything possible to keep their playmakers from making plays against us. And we also realize they've had a couple of weeks to study us and possibly change themselves schematically a little bit. But they do take great pride in pounding the football, and they do take a great amount of pride in protecting their quarterback and getting that ball out quick, and also with their play-action passing game. So it's equally important to get after both those phases of their game.
How much what they do on offense is similar to what you saw in Pitt last week, and with that pro-style offense, does that cause you guys some problems a little bit this year?
There's some carryover. There's some carryover. There's enough shifting and motion and tight end trade situations, and empty backfield sets, and they go from empty to they get a couple guys back in there, like we saw at Pitt. There's always carryover from game to game, and I think, college football and football in general, there's a lot of copycatting that goes on. As the year goes on, oh, that's a real good play, oh, that's a real good shift, well, that worked really nice, can we try this and that? So, that's why you always make sure that you correct the previous game's mistakes before you move on to your next opponent, because if you don't correct it, you can see those things again. And studying Western Kentucky, they do a lot of things, but they do run the pro stuff really well. When they spread you out and use a quarterback and run him, and use him in the quick game and throw down the field, they're very effective as well. So for them, you have to prepare for a little bit of everything, and you have to make sure that you're effective up front stop.
You touched on it a minute ago, but what kind of extra, anxiety, or what kind of extra preparation do you have to look at when you're playing a team that's had an open date? Do you sit there and go, well, they might be looking into this, or how does that really affect your preparation?
Well, every team does have a base, a base defense and a base offense, and I think you're looking at a conference with coaches that are very competitive, and that where they have an extra week or where they have just 1 week of game prep after another, everyone's going to always put in that extra time to find holes, to find the chinks in each other's armor. So I feel confident in what we've done to prepare for that, and confident in our coaching staff and our football players to continue to always find a way to fix things and improve things that may be coming our way. Can you prepare for absolutely everything? That's hard to do, but can you have that base and that knowledge to take on something or to make an adjustment to something that may pop out at you throughout the course of the game? Yeah.
You mentioned the other day, too, that your sideline adjustments have been one thing that you thought was a strength this year or had stood out. So that factors into it, too, I would think.
Absolutely. And I think as conference play continues, and this being our first, actually for both teams, this is our first conference game. Real important because the game changes and so does, your opponent week to week. And as the injury list mount, teams have to do different things. I know we've been in situations where we have to do different things and make adjustments. So we expect other teams to do so as well. And, the most important thing is making sure game day eyes are on point, that we're seeing things that we need to see, that we're making adjustments we need to make, and that we're communicating that effectively with our football.
If you had your druthers, would you have waited till week 5 to play your first conference game, or do you like how the schedule kind of unfolded, or?
Well, you'd like to have a little bit of both, but it's something, that we really don't sit around and kind of contemplate, woulda, shoulda, coulda. You'd like to jump into conference play as soon as you can. You like bye weeks to be perfectly slated, after 4 weeks, after another 4 weeks, and then the last 4 weeks of the season to take place. But I don't think anyone's ever going to get a perfect scenario. So, you take the approach instead as to whatever comes our way, whether it be if your airplane is late or you don't get one, you have to bus there instead, or if, let's say, whatever may be a certain injury occurs, you have to make an adjustment.
Since ULM was open on September 4th, was there ever any consideration?
What's that, I'm sorry?
Since ULM, was open on September 4th also, was there any other consideration moving that game up there?
There was, and I think there were efforts. I'm not sure exactly what my role would be in speaking about it, because I know rules apply to speaking about, officials and schedules, so I'm not positive. But I know there was plenty of effort to try to get a game September 4th, at least on my end, but it didn't happen. So for us, even though we've had 4 weeks or 4 games, it's really week 5 of the season, because what we lose in the game, you gain an extra scrimmage. So, you know, the week 5 is when, you know, your bodies are, you know, they feel the season, but they've gotten used to the process. So what you should see again is, you know, 2 teams ready to play good football.
Western Kentucky has the longest losing streak in NCAA. How important is that? I know that you're not overlooking it, but how important is it to get your players not to overlook this game?
Our players won't overlook anything on any opponent. You know, every single game, you know, that we play, and it goes for anyone playing conference play, is playing that game as if the entire season is on the line. You know, and every opponent is equally dangerous. And as you study the Sun Belt Conference, you'll see that every single game, or most every game, has come down to a fourth quarter situation or a play, or maybe 2 plays. So we're very well aware of how good Western Kentucky is, and we're very well aware of their playmakers. And for us, you know, we're just a hungry football team that wants to go out there and play our kind of football, and that's the most important thing to us.
Kind of piggybacking on that, do you feel like there's a lot of parity down in the Sun Belt? A lot of teams are pretty evenly matched.
You know, until we play it, you know, it's hard to tell, but it's been the case for a while. You know, until someone does knock off, you know, Troy, they are the Sun Belt champions. Again, for us right now, it's all completely, absolutely about Western Kentucky and nobody else.
What's your biggest concern matching up against Western Kentucky?
Concerns, I would say that we going into the game with concerns. We know the importance of what we have to do on both sides of the football to be effective, and you know, it ties into our game plan stuff, you know, which is something that we've been working on all week. Good to go.